You want to know how it really felt to stare down a bulldozer while the sun was barely up and the earth under your feet felt less like home and more like a chessboard someone else was playing on? Let me back up a sec. Because if you'd told me 6 months ago that I'd end up here, standing shoulder to shoulder with my neighbors in a standoff that made the local news, I'd have laughed you off my porch and offered you some fresh eggs for your trouble. But here we are. And let me tell you, this isn't just a story about cows and a cranky old barn. It's about power, legacy, and what happens when folks get pushed a little too far. It started with the sheriff pulling up in my drive, lights flashing like he'd just cracked a major case, telling me, "Sir, your livestock's been impounded. HOA ordinances, there's a lien on your property." I just about choked. My first thought, you gotta be kidding. I don't even live in an HOA. I've been on Parker Homestead since before anyone cared about golf carts, pool passes, or what kind of mailbox you've got. I'm James Parker, fourth-generation rancher, and this place, these fields, this barn, have Parker blood in the dirt. But in came the letters, stamped with Cactus Grove HOA, with fines for unapproved structures, nuisance animal noise, and some nonsense about unsightly animal waste visible from community pathways, as if there's a pathway anywhere near my pasture, unless you count deer trails. At first, I tossed him. Then the fines got bigger. Then came the county notice, $14,000 lien slapped on my family's land, like it was nothing but another lot in a spreadsheet. My lawyer was off on vacation. The county clerk said it was a civil matter. And that's about when I realized they were trying to choke me out slowly, legally, until I gave up and handed it all over. Things went from weird to wild the day strangers in vests showed up, walking my pastures, counting my cows. Western livestock compliance, they said, clipboard in hand, acting like my cows were illegal imports or something. That afternoon, a big rig backed into my yard, and they started herding my animals into steel trailers. I tried to stop them. Sheriff threatened to arrest me. And there was Karen Whitmore, president of the Cactus Grove HOA, sipping her soda in her golf cart like this was her little fiefdom. "Actions have consequences," she said, waving as my cows disappeared down the road. "If you've never stood helpless while strangers drove off with everything your family's worked for, you don't know what it's like to taste real anger." And when I saw that for sale sign, not mine, with Cactus Grove Realty LLC at the bottom, I knew this wasn't just about annoying letters or Karen's vendetta. They wanted the land, my history. The next day, my water well was padlocked shut, red sticker slapped on, condemned by HOA order. No warning, no water, just a claim that some private contractor found contamination I never authorized. County clerk told me the court had given them a temporary restraining order. 6 to 8 weeks, maybe longer. No cows, no water, a lien on my land. Someone wanted me gone, and they weren't even hiding it anymore. You know who had my back? Old Uncle Randy, my granddad's brother. He's crusty as a fence post, doesn't trust government or HOA types. The day I told him, he practically spit his cigar across the porch through the original land patents, signed by Andrew Jackson himself, down on the town clerk's desk. But modern zoning trumps history, apparently. That's what they told us. Anyway, we dug deep, traced paper trails, found out the HOA had been gobbling up easements, buying off county folks, and dreaming up a private resort next door. We were the last holdouts. The final obstacle before Karen could put her name on a plaque and call it progress. The foreclosure notice hit next. Auction in 45 days, unless I paid their mountain of fines. I almost lost hope right then. Thought about walking away, but Karen's words echoed in my head. "Once we remove you, it's all Cactus Grove." That's when I got mad. Not just for me, but for every neighbor getting the same treatment. So we called a meeting. 30 folks showed up, sunburned, tired, mad as hell. We formed the Parker County Homefront Coalition, swapped stories, dug up documents, and realized just how dirty this game was. That night, sirens and shouting outside. County work crew, deputies, bulldozer at my barn, giving me 10 minutes to collect my things. I stood my ground, phone in hand, recording every second. "State your name for the camera," I told the deputy. "Explain to the world why you're about to bulldoze private property." Bought us time. Enough for the video to go viral, for the neighbors to rally, for Natalie Grant from KBLZ News to show up with her camera crew. Next morning, it wasn't just my fight anymore. News vans, lawyers, even a historian offering landmark protection for the barn. Karen doubled down, restraining orders, emergency court dates, accusing me of threats and endangering the HOA. Uncle Randy gave me a flash drive with proof our water was never contaminated, all while Carl's daughter raced in with tears streaming. They're bulldozing Miss Ellen's garden. I dropped everything, roared down the road, and stood in front of that dozer, refusing to budge until someone called them off. Neighbors, old and new, stood behind me. The tide turned. At the court hearing, we laid out everything: fraud, trespassing, arson, the whole ugly mess. The judge saw through the lies, ruled in our favor, ordered all liens removed, referred Karen and her crew for criminal investigation. It should have felt like victory, but when I came home, there was a letter shoved under my door. Enjoy your freedom, Mr. Parker. You'll need it while it lasts. That night, the barn burned to the ground. Electrical short, they said, but I knew better. There was no wiring in that barn. This was personal, but you know what? Instead of breaking me, it brought us together. Neighbors rebuilt half the barn by dusk. News spread to the state capitol, and the Attorney General's office launched a probe into HOA fraud statewide. Then we learned Karen had forged my signature, sold part of my east pasture to a shady Nevada company called Eagle Ridge Holdings. My own cousin, Ethan Whitmore, helped pull it off, using my late father's signature on fake documents. Court again. Restraining order. Retaliation escalated. Dead chicken nailed to my gate. Slashed tires. Threats in the night. But this time, we were ready. Whole town gathered at sunrise to block the bulldozers, flatbeds, folding chairs, signs reading "This land is not for sale." Local news, sheriff, everybody watching. Contractor handed over forged permits. Sheriff called the bluff, and just as it looked like they'd try to force it, Natalie's phone pinged. Federal judge issued a stay, no construction allowed, pending fraud investigation. Crowd went wild. Even the sheriff smiled. Karen vanished overnight, but the fight had spread. Attorneys general, senators, even the governor calling for justice. Sure, some scars won't ever fade. My barn's still gone, and I keep my porch light on a little later than I used to. But my land's still mine, and our little coalition's stronger than ever. Proof that sometimes the only thing standing between you and a bully is the people who care enough to stand with you. So now, if you're sitting somewhere shaking your head, wondering if one person can really change anything, ask yourself, what would you do if they came for your home? Where's your line? Tell me down below, what's right, what's wrong, what does justice look like to you? Because out here, we learn the hard way. Community isn't just a word on a sign, it's a promise. And some things you fight for until the end.